Our next guest is Michelle Peirce, who's a partner at Donahue, Barrett and Single. Michelle, thank you for coming on the show, and your specialty practice is quite illuminating, considering we're in Massachusetts and the costs are up, and we're going to talk about big dig fraud issues. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we think we're going to dig her because not only is she a litigator, but we hope we get into your other career that you do on the side, and you're a professional comedian as well.
Professional isn't the right word, but aspiring professional.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So as you mentioned, I'm a partner at Donahue, Barrett and Single. Our litigation department, I like to say, is really in the business of helping people and businesses in crisis. So we have a pretty broad practice area in the litigation group. But again, the crisis, I think, is what makes us stand out. So to highlight, we do white-collar criminal defense, where you couldn't be in much more crisis than to have someone trying to take your liberty. But on the civil side, we also see people, I think, at a high end of crisis in their lives, whether it's professionals whose licenses are under attack, doctors, lawyers. And again, our civil cases tend to be healthcare related and other areas where people's businesses or professions are on the line.
Excellent.
Wow, and I love the way you described it. That was... you almost did it as a marketer's dream. I've been a marketer in a previous life, but you really, when you talked about business in crisis with white-collar issues, and you're right, when there are white-collar problems, and I've been around a lot of that stuff, unfortunately, it is a business in crisis, or it could be even said in free fall as a result of that.
No, I think that's right.
And so what do? You try to help create some stability again within the environment?
That's right. I mean, typically, more often in the white-collar cases, we represent the individual, not the business. That's not always the case. And I think what I've learned that was something that was difficult when I was a younger attorney is that the facts are the facts, and the person comes to you with the facts, and you can't change those. So I think that's a really important piece to get over, because you can get very involved with your client and their crisis they're in, and you want to fix things for them. And the reality is you can fix those things within the bounds of the good and bad facts they come to you with. So the goal is to really help usher them through what is an extremely difficult process and try to make it as comfortable as them as you can, and take the facts that are given to you and do your best for them.
Excellent. Well, can you tell us, speaking of fixing things, can you tell us about some of the work you've done in the big dig area relating to that fraud work?
Sure. We had a number of clients we represented in the big dig, various big dig investigations. Fortunately, many of them I can't talk about because it went well for them and they remained largely anonymous. One that I can talk about was one where we represented him through the investigation in the Big Dig Concrete case, which was a criminal case based on aggregate industries providing out-of-spec concrete to the Big Dig. Our client was a manager at Aggregate Industries and was one of 4 defendants who went through a criminal trial. So we represented him from roughly 2005 right through a First Circuit appeal 6 years later. So if you want to talk about...
I bet you he felt he had 6 years of his life on hold.
I think worse than on hold, because on hold suggests neutral state, whereas he felt, his life was going to be taken away for 6 years. It's hard to work in that time, et cetera.
Right.
While he was and the others were convicted at trial, we were very proud of the case we put on and think that helped us argue for a no jail sentence for him. So in that case, the government was looking for 7 years for him, and we succeeded in getting him a no jail disposition, which in that setting is almost like an acquittal. I argued the First Circuit appeal. The government appealed that sentence, and we held it up. So, I think it's a good example how in white collar, as I said, the facts are often against you. The odds of acquittal are against you, but you have to really dig in and see them to the finish.